the Mets will sign Juan Soto to a $500 million contract because Steve Cohen is not going to stop. He will go on a spending spree as long as he can to bring this team home a championship. He will continue doing this until it works. And when it works, he'll make sure that the Met fans are happy. He'll be happy because he's a Met fan, and he'll show you that money does talk. It hasn't done it for years for the Yankees, but if you spend enough money, he spent almost $2 billion. If he spends another $1 billion, it'll probably mean championship after that. But they will definitely run and gun for a guy like Shohei Ohtani. I just don't think Shohei Ohtani's going to an Eastern team. I think he'll stay out west.
David Robertson is traded to the Miami Marlins. The Mets will get 2 position player prospects.
Interesting. The Mets are probably giving up for the season. If they're trading David Robertson, Buck Showalter probably will be out. The Mets will probably be hiring a new manager, and they're going to probably go another route. I expect them to spend some money again this offseason and try to trade Sterling Marte, who has been an absolute bust for them since they brought him in. The Yankees have had a lot of problems this year. Their lineup has had a lot of woes. A team that was supposed to have a lot of power. They're not an average team when it comes to batting average, but they're a team that should be one of the better offensive teams in the AL. The problem with the Yankees over the last 2 years is they had the best bullpen in baseball in the first half and one of the worst bullpens in the second half. This year, they had the best bullpen in baseball, and now they've been falling off. That bullpen has had some positions in the 8th inning and the 9th inning where they've gotten themselves into trouble, and they can't get out of the inning. And then getting back Rodon before the second half was huge. His first 2 pitching starts were not good, and then his last pitching start the other day against the Mets, he was fantastic. What's so interesting, everybody keeps blaming the Yankees' woes in their lineup is because Aaron Judge's injury. I beg to differ. One player doesn't change a lineup. DJ LeMahieu's not hitting. Rizzo's not hitting. Giancarlo Stanton, I don't know where the hell he is. He's got his bat up his ass. What's going on with this team? Get rid of Donaldson. Pay him out and let him go. I thought he was going to fit in this lineup. You put him between Aaron Judge and Giancarlo. The guy can't hit anymore. The guy stinks. He needs to retire. He made enough money. I don't know what the hell's going on with the guy, and he doesn't shut up. He likes to attack the other people in the other dugout. Why don't he just keep his 2 cents to himself and actually throw the ball to first base and actually hit the first baseman in the glove? Nobody's hitting in that lineup. So having Aaron Judge there, and he's 32 years old. He's 280 pounds. He's 6'8". Even though the last 2 years he's been healthy, he's never been healthy. He's been in the league for 7 years. The guy never stays healthy. And now you have another year where he was playing pretty good baseball. He was one of the better hitters in baseball. He's had how many at-bats? That's not enough. And you give a guy 9 years, $360 million? I think it's a little crazy for a guy who, to me, can't stay healthy. Everybody wants to blame Brian Cashman. This isn't Brian Cashman's fault because the players that he's brought in are not producing. They usually do as far as the lineup. It's the pitchers. The pitchers are producing this year. It's the lineup that's not producing. So you can't blame Brian Cashman as much as every Yankee fan wants to say, it's Brian's fault. He's out of his league. Get rid of him. I think if Aaron Boone doesn't make the playoffs this year, I think the Yankees fire him. Aaron, I still think is a very good manager. I think if the Yankees ever let him go, I think there'll be at least 7 or 8 teams lining up for him. I think he's a good manager. I just don't know if he's handled the Yankees very well in the playoffs. I did bet my friend that the Yankees will make the playoffs. It doesn't look good. There are a ton of teams chasing. You have the Angels getting hot right now. Even though Seattle has not had a very good season, which I predicted to happen, I still think Seattle is a talented team. They can go on a run where they can win 10 or 11 games, and they can absolutely edge out the Blue Jays. I don't trust that the Blue Jays are going to hold on. The Red Sox are playing pretty decent baseball since the second half. There are just so many teams that can catch up to the Blue Jays. I just think that the Yankees, they have so many woes in that lineup. Brian Cashman is going to have to make an absolute splash at the trade deadline in the next couple of weeks, add at least 2 bats in that lineup for the Yankees to even compete with the power in the AL. I think the trade deadline is going to be interesting. I expect Baltimore to make a couple of moves, maybe add a pitcher. I think that's what they need. Toronto, I think they need to add another bat and maybe a pitcher.
Yeah, back-end rotation guy.
I expect Boston to make a move because Boston's still in the running for a playoff spot. The last 3 weeks, Boston's played pretty well. They're putting up numbers and they're starting to hit. And their pitching staff is actually showing up every single game and pitching 5.5, 6 innings.
So, the Mets lost to an opener that scored 1 run and 2 hits. Yeah, I learned that firsthand very well.
It's going to be interesting for both the Yankees and the Mets. I think both managers could be fired and be looking for new jobs.